Hello there. I don't know why I did that. I just thought, since I've got a green screen, I'll mess around with it and do a shitty green screen intro. Didn't know what I was going to do with it though. That'll have to do.
Thrusting penetration.
So I did a Why I Hate video on Battlefront 1, the first one, back in like a year or so ago. And the reception was not that great. So I think it's probably like a better idea to, if I'm going to talk about or review the second game, to do it in a more fair and concise manner and not just sit there and scream at my microphone with terribly edited audio for 15 minutes. So I'm just going to get going. So I'm going to start with the campaign of the game for no real reason, I guess. We'll have to start somewhere. Fairly large spoilers, by the way, but it doesn't matter because it's not really worth your time. Is that a spoiler to say that it's not very good? The campaign's not very good? Is that a spoiler? But I have to give spoilers because in order for me to actually give my opinion and for me to actually talk about what I didn't like about the campaign, a lot of that is the narrative and the plot, which is what I really didn't kind of like that much. So it is important for me to actually say spoilers. But if you don't want to have the campaign spoiled for you because you want to play it by yourself, and fair enough, then just skip to like this point in the video. I'll put a timestamp on screen. You play the campaign as Iden Versio, a Special Forces stormtrooper who commands her small team called Inferno Squad, and it takes place immediately after the events of Return of the Jedi when the second Death Star blows up over Endor. So this isn't any normal Star Wars video game story where you always play as the rebels against the Empire, fighting the good fight and all that shit. You actually get to be the bad guys and see it from their perspective, just trying to keep the peace and the order of the galaxy and putting down the rebel scum. Sounds fucking awesome, right? And it is for like 2 or 3 missions, and then something happens and Iden's personality completely changes and she defects to the rebels. It's like, what? I was actually having fun fucking killing rebels and shit. It was great. I've never had this before. It was really fucking cool. And then it's like 2 or 3 missions. What's it been, 5 minutes? So, okay, time to be the rebels. Cunts. Like, it's ridiculous. Her reason for turning is so kind of just like stupid as well. Like, it makes no sense. Like, the thing is that after the Emperor dies, right, obviously in episode 6, they start blowing up one of their Empire planets with like billions of people on it for no reason, just to make other planets scared. But why not just do that to a planet that isn't an Empire planet, where it's got so many of your soldiers and your infrastructure and your army building there? It's so fucking stupid. And then because your main character Iden, because she was born on that planet, she immediately, like, she's been fighting the whole war, killing rebels and probably thousands of people, but as soon as someone starts attacking her planet, she gets a bit triggered. Like, this game's canon, this game's campaign is actually canon, so if the rebels are going to be that trusting and immediately allow Iden to defect and join her side and literally be Princess Leia's bodyguard, literally, like, immediately, if they're going to do that and they're that trusting, it's no wonder that Kylo Ren exists if they're going to be that trusting, and Kylo Ren killed all the new Jedi. I'm not saying that the campaign is completely awful all the way through. There are some moments where it is awesome and it is fun and you are going to be immersed and actually enjoy yourself. That is actually true, and I definitely did find myself enjoying it. Funnily enough, there with the space battles, the stuff where you don't see the characters, where you're not just going through corridors and shooting people, it was actually when you're flying around space and shooting ships. That was actually that's great. They've done a really good job with that, and some of the missions and some of the narrative is great. Like I was saying about how Inferno Squad, there's that group of the 3 people. They're like your Iden Versio, and you've got your 2 friends. And there's one mission where you play as Luke, right? You play as Luke Skywalker, and you're playing as Luke, and you go to this planet where after the Emperor's dead, like I say, he had a shrine there. The Emperor had a shrine, so you go there because you've been called to it by the Force or some bullshit. And also there's someone from Inferno Squad there, so you meet him and you save his life, and then you go through that, and then the dialogue that happens between the 2 characters and their reason for not killing each other, even though they are enemies, is really good. And that was what made him from Inferno Squad, that character made him want to defect to the rebels and leave the Empire, and that's good. That was a really good arc, and it was actually a really good reason, and that's how you should be able to tell stories in games, or through dialogue and character motivations and the rest of it. It's very impressive, and I really liked it. It just sucks, like, nothing else in the game comes close to that level of storytelling. Also, like, towards the end, why is there a love subplot between Aiden and the guy? Why? It's completely unnecessary. It adds absolutely nothing to the story. It's just a distraction. It's so fucking bollocks. You when you beat the game and you kill the enemy, the Empire, and it's just like raining Star Destroyer parts that you've blown up on a planet, and then you kiss, and it's like, are they unable to write a female character without having her attached by the hip to a man character who's shit? Like, why? It's so fucking stupid. Completely unnecessary. Stupid. Why? Who wrote this game? It's like a team of people, and they all took it in turns, I think. Like, they all had one go of writing a level, and there was one guy that was actually good at it, and he wrote the Luke Skywalker fucking meeting Inferno Squad bloke, and making them defect. Everyone else sucks.
Know your fucking place, trash! Fucking robots!
The multiplayer, though, of Battlefront 2 is where it shines. Honestly, that is that's what's important. That is the good bit. That is good. Like it's definitely not as shoddy and lackluster as the predecessor Battlefront 1. It's great in terms of like saying what we wanted from the first one. That's what we've got now, 100%. We've got the Clone Wars era and the new Resistance versus the First Order era, as well as the Empire era, like new maps, new heroes you can play as. It's fucking awesome. It feels amazing. It's so good. It's difficult to talk about Battlefront 2 without at least going over the loot box controversy. Alright, I know you've heard it all before, told much better than I will be able to tell it by a million other people and a million other articles, so I'm not going to go and explain exactly how the loot boxes work and go exactly into the detail of it, because it will take too much time and it's unnecessary, and I'm sure everyone knows about it already, so what's the point? All I want to say is touch on it because it is important, and it is the reason that this game is held back. It is so close to being completely pay to win. It's fucking ridiculous, and it really annoys me, and it's the only reason that I don't love this game. Notice how I said nearly pay to win. They've changed it a little bit and tweaked it so that it's not kind of completely pay to win now. What it is kind of you pay and you will get like a very significant advantage, basically. So you'll pay and you'll be able to get your abilities, and they will come through and they'll be much, much better, for example, than someone else who hasn't paid, unless they want to play like 60 or 70 hours or something ridiculous to get a chance of getting the same kind of stuff that you've paid 20 quid for, you know what I mean? By the way, when I say that it isn't pay to win, it's just very close to that. I'm not saying that's much better. I fucking hate it. It's bullshit, and I fucking hate it. Don't get me wrong. People keep on saying it's pay to win, it's pay to win, it's pay to win. It's not. It isn't. It's pay to... What I think of as pay to win is if you pay and you have such a ridiculous advantage over other players that it's extremely difficult for you to not win against them. So somebody who's very skilled and hasn't paid, for example, they won't be able to beat... They will try very, very hard to be able to beat you. That's not what this is. Basically, you're paying for like your your grenade has a bit more range. It's not exactly pay to win, is it? There used to be abilities that were, for example, Boba Fett, right? You'd play as Boba Fett, and there was an ability where if you paid enough money, you could get it so that if he was in the air and using his rocket launcher, he would take no damage while using the rocket launcher. That is ridiculous. They changed that so that he takes maybe the top tier of that ability of him taking less damage when he uses his rocket launcher is maybe to the extent of like he takes 50% less damage, which is still pretty ridiculous, but it's not to the extent of being absolutely invincible, especially if you were to couple that with like the decreased time on your ability thing. That would be ridiculous. So yes, it used to be quite pay to win, and that's why I mentioned that it used to be. It's not pay to win. It isn't. Please stop saying that.
Look how old you've become.
Something far worse has happened to you.
It annoys me more though because it's so ridiculous and pointless. Why bother? There's no need. Games like Overwatch and Rocket League, for example, have shown that if you want to have loot boxes in your game, you can do it well. Not well, I hate loot boxes, but you can do it so that it doesn't intrude on the gameplay. So Overwatch and Rocket League, they're for example, those two, the only ones I can think of off the top of my head, their loot boxes only have cosmetic items. Like Rocket League only has wheels, different kinds of wheels, or a different body for your car, or some bullshit. Overwatch only has skins. And the games are so good, as aside from that, that they don't have to put this bullshit in. It really annoys me, and of course they work. Everyone knows how much money Overwatch makes. I didn't realise how much of a market there is for the Rocket League ones as well. Like, I was talking to my mate in the pub the other week, and he was telling me that he spends probably 30 quid a week on cosmetic loot boxes for Rocket League. Like, I'm not having a go, I'm just saying, it clearly works. It clearly works if you just put cosmetic things. People want them. You don't have to... why ruin the game when it's not necessary and get this backlash from it that will destroy your sales? Hopefully people realise that loot boxes, we're fine with them, so long as they're just cosmetic stuff. We will buy them if they're just cosmetic stuff, and we'll probably also buy them if they're pay to win shit as well, but it means that everyone's having a shit time. What else is ridiculous about that is that customizability within the Star Wars armies is huge. And they came out recently, I remember seeing it was like their lead dev or whatever, the CEO or some bullshit, said that they didn't want to put customizability into Battlefront 2 because who wants to see a pink Darth Vader? He literally said that, by the way. Here's the article, if I can find it. If I can find the article of him saying that. Hopefully I can, or else I'm going to look like a right knob. He said, who wants to run around as a pink Darth Vader? That'd be ridiculous. I definitely want that. I definitely want to run around as a pink Darth Vader. You kidding me? Goes to show how out of touch these people are, really, I think. Just to touch on the loot boxes for the last part, the worst thing about it isn't that it's necessarily pay to win or whatever. It's that there's literally no progression in the game at all. So usually, like, to explain, so usually when you play like a multiplayer game, like a shooter game, for example, which is what this is, you will get experience points after every match. Depending on how well you do, you'll get more or less. It's pretty standard. And then after a while, you'll get enough experience points to level up, and then every time you level up, you'll get a new ability or a new gun or something like that. Something to keep you playing and something to give you a sense of accomplishment and make you feel like you want to keep playing. There is nothing like that in this game. So when you level up, you don't get a new gun, you don't get a new helmet, you don't get a new ability, you don't get anything. You get fuck all. You get 1,000 extra credits or whatever it is. It's bullshit, right? And everything that you would get as a progression reward is obviously locked behind these boxes, and it fucking sucks because that holds the game back so much. Everything that I've kind of just explained holds this not bad at all. It's good. The core gameplay of the online is good. I enjoy it. When it goes well, I actually enjoy myself. It's quite good, but it's all of the I can't recommend it because you have to get past this barrier. You have to wade through this shite to get to the good bit, to get that little nugget of fun. It sucks so much, so it's so difficult for me to say, yeah, it's fine, spend 50-60 quid on it. It's difficult for me to be able to say that because it's not worth that amount of money. There's like an offline arcade mode as well, which is kind of cool. It's alright. It's good for like practice or challenging yourself when you're bored of the online and stuff. So you can play as like just the heroes against the enemies and the AI enemies and stuff, or you can just play as a normal match, but it's offline kind of thing. It's kind of similar to the Battlefront 2 back in 2005, where you just play against bots all day, every day. I think that definitely my favourite game mode is the Starship Assault. It's the space battles, basically. They're fucking amazing. They nailed the feeling of being able to fly. It's funnily enough that my favourite part of Battlefront 2 is the part that was not made by DICE. Like, to be able to control an X-Wing and blow up Star Destroyers and fire around shooting TIE Fighters, or be as like Yoda and his little Jedi Starfighter and that, and just destroy people. It's fucking great. It's really, really good. I think what makes me like that mode more as well is that there's bots. You're not just fighting against other people online, you're also shooting against bots, like little AI control people, so it's really easy to kill them, so you can feel good about yourself. You can like get a few cheeky kills, just get a few naughty cheeky kills, it's fine, and then you see an enemy, you're like, oh, that's, you can see when their name, it's like, that's obviously a gamer tag, because it's like XX trick skills shots XX 69. Graphically, it's incredible. Sound design as well, it's fucking spot on, just like the one that came before it, Battlefront 1 back in 2015, I think. Like, it's fucking amazing. It looks beautiful. The campaign looks beautiful. The online modes look amazing. It runs at 60 FPS, I think, pretty solidly as well. It's so good. It looks incredible, and it sounds just like Star Wars, as dumb as that might sound. So it should be blatantly obvious, not just because of what I've been saying, but because of what everyone's been saying. The main issue with Battlefront 2 is the loot boxes. That is honestly the main issue. Everything else is fine. It's either fine or very good. Like, the campaign is fine, the graphics are very good, the gameplay is pretty good. Like, it's all on that. It's either fine, nothing else is bad pretty much that I can actually think of. Nothing else is really that bad apart from the hero voice acting. Some of them are fucking terrible. I swear they just went down into the office when they were making the dev and they were like, this game's shipping in a day, we need someone to do a Kylo Ren impression. Can you do a Kylo Ren impression? It's like, the guys just stand there like,
Yes, I can do a Kylo Ren impression.
that's fucking perfect, we're going to use that in the game now, that's fine, thanks mate, don't worry about even coming into the booth. Like, it's terrible. It's like what I was saying just a couple of minutes ago, it's so difficult for me to recommend it because the bad points, even though there's only really a few bad points, they really hold back the rest of the game. It's like an anchor on a chain holding it back. So I can't recommend the game based on that. I can't say it's worth your 60 quid or whatever it is. You can't really. It's like there being a massive pile of human shit, and like at the bottom of this pile is your favourite crisps. Like, there's a multi-pack of your favourite skips, so you have to like wade through all of this shit, and it's all going in your face, and it's all going in your head and your mouth, and then you're trying to wade through all of this shit, and then you go down into the shit, and you're like going like that, and then you get out the multi-pack. Like, yeah, you're going to enjoy the crisps, but the taste of the crisps is shit as well, because you've just waded through this shit. You can smell shit. There's shit in your mouth, so it's sullying the taste of the crisps. And so, like, I made that up. I didn't script that bit. This analogy is terrible. I'm gonna shut up.
Hey, Maz. Pour me another Parkell and Sling.
Not until you pay for the last one.
Come on.
What the fuck are those? What the fuck are those? Wait, what the fuck is that?